This was insane to witness. An injury-plagued Bolts team in an Atlantic Division showdown. 2 playoff spots secured, but a lot of unfinished business on the ice between 2 of the Atlantic's best teams fighting for first place. We're going to break down the craziness of Monday night's game and what's at stake for a Bolts Stanley Cup run. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Savannah Gajda. I am your new Lightning Digest correspondent, and I am so thrilled to be here. I'm pumped. We've got so much amazing playoff action coming up. I can't wait to wrap up the regular season with you guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Send this to your family, your friends, your favorite Bolts players. We want to build a huge community here of all things Bolts. Make sure to share in the comments your thoughts, your concerns, whatever it is. We're building a Bolts family here, and maybe even share some fashion tips. I know I had on my Bolts blue lucky for tonight. Maybe it didn't bring us the most luck. We didn't win the game, but there are a lot of silver linings that I credit to this lucky Bolts blue fur. So stay tuned. We're getting into all of it now. First order of business, next man up, as Gage Consalvis has said not once, not twice, but many times throughout this season. That is the mentality of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've talked, they've prepared for the injuries, they know who's out, they know who needs to step up, and that's exactly what makes this team a playoff team. They're not relying on 1 or 2 guys or one line. They're always ready to bring whatever A-game, whatever energy they need to replace whoever's out. And in this instance, we've got 6 guys that are currently injured. 2 of them are out, Cirelli and Hagel, and 4 on injured reserve. We got Hedman, our fearless captain, Max Crozier, Declan Carlisle, and Dominic James. And these are guys that are such a unit, especially Hagel and Cirelli. If you take a look over here, Brandon Hagel has been such a powerhouse for this Bolts team, and Anthony Cirelli as well, really taken aback by his injury. He had a hat trick 2 games ago, so it seems like John Cooper is really holding Cirelli and Hagel out for precautionary measures. We already made the playoffs, and I'd much rather see them rest up and not force themselves, and also not put themselves in harm's way, especially against a game like we had on Monday night when we knew the Sabres were out for blood after the last matchup where it was like old school hockey beatdowns and brawls. So I'd rather see Coop, take the safe way out, keep Cirelli and Hagel out for as long as they need, let all the other players rest up as well. We're already in the playoffs, so I'd rather take it easy for the rest of regular season. And it's exactly as Coop said, we can play this game a whole lot of different ways. They can mix and match on the lines. They've got a lot of talent, a lot of depth, so not having some key guys, even though it's not the best case scenario, there are still ways to win, and that's exactly what the Bolts have been doing consistently all season long, and that's how we've clinched a playoff berth now with about a week and a half left in the regular season. In the midst of missing key guys like Hedman, Hagel, Cirelli, we've had Brayden Point step up. He's been a huge asset and leader to this team. And I was terrified today during the game when he had a major collision into the net during the first period. I was so relieved to see him come back at the start of the second period and really vindicate himself with an assist to Jake Gensel's game-tying score. That was really good to see because we need Brayden Point, and he's another guy that's been plagued by injuries. He had that unfortunate injury right before the Olympics, which cost him a run for the Canadian team. So we want to see him healthy and in action. And unfortunately, bad news as well with Pontus Holmberg, who suffered a really bad shoulder injury after a very aggressive hit that crashed him right into the glass. He was on the ground for some time. I'm no physician, but it does not look like we're going to see Holmberg back on the ice tomorrow night against the Senators or for the rest of the week. Hopefully we'll get an injury update on him soon, but we wish him all the best because it looked like a nasty, nasty injury. But even with all that negative news and all those injuries, we have so much positive consistency on this team that I have full faith in the Bolts, starting with the Russians. Vasilevskiy, our MVP every single night. He had 25 saves tonight, a lot of really critical ones. And also the man of the hour every single hour, Nikita Kucherov, had his 400th goal tonight, which brings his total goals this season to 43. And we know he's in the running for the most goals scored this season across the league. So he's currently tied for third place with Connor McDavid from the Oilers and Kirill Kaprizov from the Wild. So no matter what happens, no matter what injuries we have, Kuch, Vasi, they always have such a level-headed mind, and they're ready to bring their A game every single game, and we can consistently rely on them to be at their best on the ice. So that brings me a lot of hope, and it's again, that next man up mentality. They're always ready. They're still fighting. They're still being really gritty throughout the game, even when they know that the whole team isn't at their best. We saw a lot of that grit tonight against the Sabres in the last few seconds of the game, but nonetheless, it was still there. Better late than never. They really kicked up with the empty net. They kept the puck in Sabres territory for most of that time, and we saw their shots on goal rise up from 17 to 25 compared to Buffalo's 25, which rose up to 29. So, going from 17 to 25 in a short amount of time is really impressive for the Bolts, and that just goes to show that they really fight to the end. They don't give up. They're holding it out the whole time, and more positives, their penalty kill is strong. They only gave up 2 goals shorthanded in the last 6 games prior to this one. And like I said before, we've got a talented team with a lot of depth, and it's just injuries that are weighing us down. When you see this team at full strength in the playoffs, which hopefully we'll have a lot of these guys from our injury reserve list come back soon, then we'll get rid of guys like Mitchell Chaffee, who's really just been a body on the ice. He's had half the amount of shifts as most of the other players. He's barely getting more than 10 minutes really per game. So he's just a body that's picking up slack for the other players. So obviously they are over fatigued. They're not getting enough rest. Everyone is kind of just picking up slack for the next guy. Next man up, that's really what this is all about. So as soon as the Bolts have some luck on their side with injuries, I think they're really going to be a fierce opponent on the ice. Now, as positive and optimistic as I love and try to be, I totally understand all the Tampa Bay fans that are very cynical right now, because we've had 3 consecutive first-round exits in recent spring. So that's not the most hopeful news nor stats for a potential Stanley Cup run this season, but I would say give it some time. I definitely think if we want to top the Atlantic, we need to be at full strength. I mean, you seeing how the Sabres come every single game. They also have a very strong mentality that they teach their athletes. They say, go get to your game. Don't stand there and wait. They're a very physical team. You could just look at the Atlantic Division standings right now. Let's pull them up. And yeah, you'll see how tight the picture is between the Bolts, the Habs, and the Sabres. This is a very strong division, and like I said, I think if we want to top it, we need to be at full strength. Even if we couldn't come out with the win against the Sabres tonight, I'm glad that the team got the experience to play with them again, because a Tampa Bay Buffalo playoff series is it's very possible, and I think it would be a very good one. Don't be surprised if you see me flying back and forth between Tampa Bay and Buffalo for a good week and a half, but I think that they're really going to have to bring it, because this is a tough division to be in. But for what it's worth, I know everyone wants to win the division, but at least we clinched that playoff spot. And I think that does ease a lot of the players' stresses and concerns. And they don't have an easy schedule for the rest of the regular season. The Bolts are on the road until this weekend. They're flying probably on a plane right now as we speak, if they haven't already landed, from Buffalo to Ottawa to play the Senators on Tuesday night. And the Senators are fighting for a playoff spot as well in the wild card. So that game's going to be really physical. And then they're going to fly from Ottawa to Montreal to play the Canadiens again, another aggressive team. And then they've got the Bruins on Saturday, so flying from Montreal to Boston, and Bruins are in the same spot as the Senators, also fighting for a playoff spot. And then after that, 2 home games, thankfully, so hopefully they could ease up then. They've got the Red Wings next Monday and the Rangers, a lost cause, unfortunately. Sorry, New York. All my love to New York, but Yeah, Rangers really hurt this season. Rangers to close out the regular season at Benchmark International Arena next Wednesday night. So, Bolts fans, we just got to stay hopeful, stay subscribed to our new channel, and I'm so excited to talk more about Bolts hockey with you. See you soon.